A stranger rescues a hiker from a viper's strike in the remote backcountry, only to learn she's the successor to a vast empire and now vows to stay by his side. The poison is racing through you. Focus on me. Ethan's tone was calm, insistent, solid, like an anchor in the storm of fear. What are you using those plants for? Am I dying? Sophia wheezed, her gasps quick and jagged, gaze filled with dread as agony surged through her limb, like flames devouring her blood. Ethan held back a reply at first. His fingers worked with skilled accuracy, mashing the deep emerald foliage between his palms until it released a sharp, soil-rich juice. He applied it to the fang marks right above her heel, where the serpent had lunged with deadly swiftness moments ago. This should curb the toxin's advance, he explained. Keep your focus on me. Don't fade out. Sophia gripped the loose soil, stifling a cry as the natural compress seared into her flesh. Her pulse thundered so fiercely it overpowered murmurs around them. Her thoughts spun in shock. This was meant to be a lone expedition, a brief push against her limits, refreshing her spirit, fleeing the towering confines of her existence in Seattle. She'd studied the path, equipped herself thoroughly, but no manual or supplies had readied her for this. A toxic bite deep in isolation, no signal, now cared for by an unknown figure who emerged from the foliage like a guardian of the wilds. Ethan met her eyes. Thick eyebrows knit, his stare fierce yet compassionate, etched by weather and years. Inhale deeply. You'll pull through, he urged, delving into the compact hide pouch across his torso. He retrieved a tiny flask of inky fluid, uncapped it, and extended it to her. Swallow this. It's harsh, but effective. Sophia paused, then accepted it with shaky grasp. The flavor was as awful as warned, like wood and ore and antiquity. But she gulped it, no options left, her limb inflating rapidly, torment escalating, the surroundings be. At the margins. What? Who are you? She croaked, voice hoarse. Ethan Thorne, he answered without glancing, already plucking additional flora from a close shrub. I dwell here, unplugged, fortunate I was close by. I was trekking. Her speech faltered, her neck drooped sideways. No, hold on, Ethan commanded firmly. Shifting to her flank, he patted her face lightly. Sophia, correct? That's you, yes? Spotted it on your bag's label. Sophia, remain here. She fluttered her lids, compelling them apart. You rummaged my things? For your identity, not robbing you. His manner was straightforward, pragmatic. Stay put. I must create a minor slice. Sophia's inhale stuttered. Hold on. What? No blades. It's this or the poison progresses, Ethan stated. He was extracting a clean, small knife from his kit. Merely superficial, to ease the buildup and extract what possible. You'll manage. She whined as the edge met her skin, yet held steady. Her fingers clawed the ground. Earth. I despise this, she muttered. I understand, Ethan replied, but you're handling it well. The time stretched like eternity. Ethan operated with concentrated skill, exerting force, swapping the plant wrap, binding her limb with a coarse fabric scented of fur and embers. He remained composed, intentional. His aura steadied her, preventing total plunge into the void tugging at her sight's borders. Once the peak subsided, Ethan leaned back on his haunches and brushed perspiration from his forehead. We must relocate you to safety. My lodge is roughly 1 kilometer away. I'll transport you. You needn't, Sophia began, but could scarcely raise her skull. I must, he affirmed plainly, hoisting her with unexpected tenderness. Her crown nestled on his collar, his heat strangely soothing. The wood smeared by in a mist of verdant and amber and ache. As they traversed the undergrowth, Sophia battled to remain aware. The cadence of Ethan's strides was constant. She tuned into it, centered on it, allowing it to steer her from terror into an awed faith. Deep in the timber, an eagle screeched above. The breeze murmured amid the canopies. And in Ethan's embrace, Sophia shut her eyes, not yielding, but in tentative optimism that perhaps she might endure this dawn. The lodge materialized like an illusion amid the branches, a humble timber dwelling nestled against a slope, partly hidden by bracken and dusk. Ethan nudged the entrance with his arm and bore Sophia within, her burden slight yet pressing in his hold. He placed her softly on a bunk, covered in coarse fleece covers, then acted with honed haste. No room for ease, only endurance. No power, no device were. The sole noises were the snapping of the blaze he kindled in the rock fireplace, and Sophia's uneven inhales. He pulverized parched botanicals in a pestle, mixed them into a cauldron of simmering water atop the flames, the aroma ascending, pungent, remedial, acrid, as the brew. He revisited her, inspected the inflation on her limb. It had extended, vessels shadowing near the injury. She shifted, her complexion ashen, glossy with moisture. Ethan, her murmur faint. It aches. I realize, he murmured, tone subdued and balanced. I'm preparing aid. Remain immobile. She garbled words he missed, then recoiled as anguish hit anew. He grasped the chilled botanical mash and tenderly renewed the binding on her lesion. His contact was cautious, purposeful, but her distress tightened a knot in his core. As time inched forward, Sophia ebbed between awareness. She uttered shards, muddled ideas, and semi-concealed recollections. Ethan bent nearer, striving to decipher. My dad, she breathed. He'll shatter if I perish here. Ethan's forehead creased. Your dad? He'll deploy choppers. He always escalates. He halted, appraising her features. She appeared from affluence, her attire premium, her dermis smooth, despite grime and damp. That phrase sketched a urbanite defying a scripted existence. She'd likely sought thrill to sense vitality, now reaping the cost. Yet, he voiced nil. Guesses were risky. He simply required her survival. The elixir was prepared. Ethan approached with a hot mug of the noxious odor brew, elevated her crown, and urged it to her mouth. I know it's vile, but it'll purge the poisons. She complied feebly, hacking as it scorched her esophagus. The ensuing hours merged, Ethan perched by her, refreshing her wrap, dabbing her temple, attuned to the gust sigh, exterior, and the pulsing throb of her vitality, edging from peril. Or so he believed. Around dusk, her respiration altered. It grew faint, decelerated. Sophia, he beckoned gently. Open your gaze. Nil reply. Hey, see me. He voiced, amplified, alarm seeping in. Come on, not finished. She emitted a labored outbreath and then void. Curse it, Ethan surged, flinging the cover and pressing his ear to her torso. No air. Her beat was dim, nearly absent. Revival, no hesitation, compressions, ventilations, more compressions. His hands pressed her sternum, precise from training, fueled by urgency. Come on, you're not dying in my cabin, he growled, jaw tight. Another breath forced in. More compressions. Sweat dripped down his neck. The fireplace flickered wildly, casting shadows that danced across the cabin walls, as if the wilderness itself held its breath. Breathe, he ordered. Her body jolted. A sharp gasp escaping as her eyes snapped open, wide with shock and fear. She choked on the air, limbs flailing, until he gently pinned them. "Easy, you're back," he said, voice cracking softly. "You're safe." She stared at him, dazed, terrified. I couldn't. Everything went dark. You stopped breathing," Ethan said calmly. "But I brought you back." Her eyes filled with tears, and she turned away, ashamed, vulnerable. "I thought I was strong." "You are strong," he said gently. "You faced more than strength could bear." Her, watching her breath steady, her chest rising and falling, ascending and descending in a delicate pattern. Her pulse lingered, frail but existent, vital. Here. Outside, the gust veered, the evening hushed. Inside, near the blaze, two unknowns lingered mute, one scarcely grasping existence, the other shielding it like a tender spark. Dawn rays poured through the tiny pane of the lodge, painting amber lines over the rugged timber planks. The odor of botanicals and ember haze persisted, blending with the mild pop of a waning fire. Sophia roused under the covers, her lids blinking ajar to a realm oddly alien and wholly tangible. Briefly, she forgot her locale. Then the throb in her limb resurfaced, muted yet real, tethering her to fact. She propelled herself upright a bit, grimacing, and surveyed. The space was bare, yet cozy. Racks with containers of withered fronds and tubers, implements orderly, tomes piled casually in a nook. It was basic, yet oddly reassuring. Her sight. Ethan, who sat wordlessly at a bench by the hearth, pulverizing an item in a grinder, his forehead knit in serene focus. "You rescued me," she uttered, timbre gravelly. He glanced up, composed yet vigilant. "You alarmed me," he responded, "but yes, you endured." Sophia winked, examining him. "How extended was I unconscious?" 3 days. Fever subsided yesterday eve. You're mending nicely, given." She reclined into the cushions, absorbing all. "I can't fathom I'm breathing." "And you employed foliage and roots for it." Ethan dipped his head slightly. "The wild provides if we discern." There was something profound in him, his tranquil, rooted vibe. Sophia observed his actions, his motions intentional, systematic. He differed from all she'd encountered. In her realm, all was hurried, refined, timetabled. Ethan flowed in a tempo wholly his. Across the following days, Ethan cared for her softly, sans ado. He brewed plant infusions that aided slumber, broths from gathered foliage and compresses that eased the bulge in her limb. Sophia, yet too feeble for distance, passed her time gazing at the wilds beyond the pain, heeding the gust, and conversing with Ethan when permitted. He wasn't verbose inherently, but gradually, warily, he revealed. She discovered he'd served as a combat healer, forces. He'd witnessed horrors in conflict that lingered, scars embedded in the essence. Post losing a comrade, a dear ally, in an ambush blast, Ethan had fled all urban kin. Clamor. He acquired terrain by the wilds and constructed the lodge solo. "I arrived to erase," he voiced once, but lingered to recollect anew. Sophia was enthralled, not solely by his tale, but him, his serenity, his fortitude, and beyond, the implicit mercy steering his every deed. For the initial in ages, she sensed an inner calm, not vanished, but eased. "You're unlike anticipated," she voiced one dawn, perched outside the lodge, swathed in a cover as Ethan split logs close. He arched a brow, and antic. "What? Unsure, some feral woods dweller. You're remarkably insightful." He grinned subtly. "Kind term for aged. Didn't imply that. You assumed," she chuckled. the noise surprising them. Days since mirth echoed, but the serene pattern they adopted shattered one tardy noon. Sophia solo in the lodge, napping faintly, when a noise tugged her awake, a ponderous shuffle, branches snapping. Something massive, navigating the thicket past the glade. She rose, pulse racing, and crept to the pane. A grizzly. It was colossal, ambling the timber fringe, scenting the breeze. It proceeded with languid interest, skull oscillating. Instantly, serene, commanding, remain within. He directed Sophia, tone subdued and directive. She affirmed, crouching behind the frame, peering via a slit. Ethan advanced leisurely to the ember ring and seized a metal tray. With calculated actions, he struck it on a steel vessel, generating a sharp racket. He avoided yells, avoided flight, just resolute, patterned din. The grizzly wavered, then pivoted, trudging into the woods. The branches engulfed it. Only post-glade vacant did Ethan drop the tray. He gazed lodgeward, noted Sophia's wan visage peering, and offered a lone dip. Later, breath regained, she uttered, "You weren't frightened." "I was," he conceded. "I just grasp fear, sans permitting it dictate." She observed him mute, sensing her pulse still hammer, and pondered how an unknown could render her safer than any prior. The ensuing days formed a hushed, nearly holy cadence. Sophia remained, not compelled. She could ambulate now. The bulge in her limb almost vanished. Inner shift commenced. For the first in years, she felt anchored, rooted, as if each woodland inhale unraveled burdens long borne. She queried Ethan if he'd instruct her. Initially, he appeared astonished. "Instruct what?" "How to endure as you," she voiced. "How to identify curative frond from lethal. How to exist sans all else." He affirmed once. Agreed. Each dawn, they roamed farther from the lodge. Ethan schooled her on nuanced variances betwixt venomous and therapeutic flora, how to trace beast paths, how to heed the wild's tongue, the snap of a stag's step, the alert cry of a raven, the hush pre-tempest. Sophia imbibed it, mind keen, spirit receptive. No facade betwixt, no diversions. She ignored her locks knotted or palms soiled. Ethan avoided past probes, she withheld. They dwelled in a now that felt truer than any conference or opulent suite. One noon, they returned post-gathering. Ethan bore a modest hamper of tubers and fungi, detailing how earth makeup influenced vary. "Strength," Sophia heeded, chuckling as he narrated, mistaking feral root for a mimic that yielded week-long gut pain. But nearing the veranda stairs, Ethan's boot snagged a wobbly rock. He faltered, hamper soaring from grasp, and crashed onto the timber steps. "Ethan," Sophia dashed to him, heart thudding. He winced, attempting rise. "I'm fine, just wrenched, perhaps." "Don't stir," she commanded, tone keener than anticipated. "You might have struck your skull." She knelt by, palms quivering mildly as she assessed. His joint swelled already, and a gash on his limb bled consistently. "I've endured graver," Ethan voiced, trying half grin. "I haven't," she countered, voice constricted, "and won't." Jointly, they maneuvered him inside. Sophia cleansed the lesion with liquid and fresh fabric, mirroring his prior method. She located the wraps he'd utilized, imitating his technique, binding his limb with caution and affection. Roles inverted, yet her appreciation deepened, entwined in unnamed scent. As dusk descended and the blaze heated the space, Sophia perched by Ethan, watching him nap lightly. His visage eased, stern lines mellowed by rest and hurt. She examined the creases near his gaze, the gray strands in his tresses, the serene power he bore like another layer. something altered. What initiated as endurance became faith, and from faith bloomed else. Soft, inevitable. She reclined in the seat and murmured to the chamber. I was destined here. Ethan roused but stayed asleep, and Sophia, core brimming and mending, knew something within revived. Not merely her form, but tougher to access. The dawn light threw elongated shades via the branches, seeping into the lodge and softly rousing Sophia pre-Ethan. She rose gradually on her bunk, attuned to the mild pattern of his inhales across the room. The wild's tranquility had infused her essence. Her limb nearly mended now, sturdy for woodland stroll sans flinch, but daily the external reality nudged firmer against the huss. Treasured. Sophia stood, draped in the aged plaid Ethan lent, and ventured out. The morn was chill and vibrant, avians hailing from crowns, moisture adhering tall blades. She roamed glade's border, musings entwined. Time arrived. She'd realized for days she couldn't conceal behind furs and blooms. Ethan merited truth. She owed that. And beyond. Later morn she located him by the ember pit, honing a blade with skilled attention. His demeanor as ever, serene, inscrutable. She settled by. Pulse hammering. I must share something, she murmured softly. He eyed her, perceiving the gravity. Proceed. She inhaled deeply. My name is Sophia Langford. My father is Victor Langford, head of Langford Global. Ethan paused mid-hone. The resort conglomerate? Yes, she gazed into the embers. I'm his sole offspring. Thus, heir. He placed the blade aside. He remained silent, but his quietude conveyed all. Sophia proceeded, timber firmer than sensed. I was betrothed to Alexander Hale. Tycoon, and the union was more alliance than affection. I rejected it. I rejected all. Not the scripted path, not the unearned title, not the glare. She met his gaze. I fled 2 weeks pre-ceremony. Bagged essentials, deactivated device, vanished into the spot I deemed hidden. The back country, Ethan murmured quietly. She affirmed. I sought breath to recall self sans observers. For extended he voiced nil. Then, why now? As I trust you, and it alters matters. Ethan regarded her, truly, and she noted the turmoil in his gaze. Then he uttered unexpected. It alters not your essence, not for me, Sophia winked. Truly, you're the fighter who clung to life, who chuckled at my stale tales and wept when I sprained. The wilds ignores your surname, so do I. Sentiment surged within her, but pre-response a deep thrum sliced the calm, the distinct chop of rotor wings. Sophia's pupils dilated. Ethan rose, scanning heavens. No, she breathed. He pivoted to her. Air caught. The path sensor. I crossed one pre-strike. My image might have activated. The noise amplified, nearer. Soon a polished ebony chopper lowered into the glade, pressing tall blades with its draft. Debris and foliage whirled. Sophia shielded her visage as figures in somber attire leaped out, some with comms, others hailing her. Miss Langford? Sophia, praise we located you. One advanced, evident chief. Your father frantic. Searches, ongoing days. Sophia's core pounded. She eyed Ethan, whose features stiffened, impartial yet remote. You're departing, he voiced. I unplanned this, she countered, tears evident. I wished unsound. The figure neared. Must depart. Your father awaits. Media seeks declaration. Grant a moment, she snapped. He affirmed, retreating, granting her and Ethan a waning serene nook. She turned to him, grasping his palm. I'm unready to go. But you must. I unfit that realm. You do, he murmured tenderly. And perhaps someday you'll bridge bot. Oath, then select vital. But depart now, not fleeing, but selecting. Droplets traced her cheeks. "Will you await?" "I wander little," he voiced with subtle grin. "You know my spot." As the chopper ascended, Sophia gazed down at the lodge, the wilds, at Ethan steadfast in the glade. She pressed palm to pane, observing him diminish under the climbing craft. She held a fragment of her core with him, in the hush, the haze, the soil. The remainder soared into the clamor of a realm she'd strive to evade. The metropolis seemed another sphere. The instant Sophia alighted the chopper onto the summit pad of Langford Global Base, the realm assaulted. Blinking lenses, guard squads, personnel in sharp attire, and the far buzz of streets below. She fluttered under the vivid sky, her dermis still faintly scented of fur and embers. The din, the tempo, the sheer burden twisted her gut. She was guided into the apex quarters, where her father reclined in a medical cot. Temporarily she. Ease and recognition. Victor Langford appeared diminished then recalled, a figure reduced not solely by ailment, but by decades bearing a dominion. Sophia, his timber fractured with feeling. "You returned." She perched by, clasping his palm softly. "I must." "You stirred chaos," he voiced with gravelly mirth. "Vanishing thus. Headlines worldwide." "I realize," she murmured softly, "but vanishing found me." He regarded her, truly, as if anew. "I require you helm, Sophia. I forged this firm for you. All, every pact, every midnight, every forfeit so you'd evade hardship." She gulped. "Dad, I grasp the firm's value. I honor your creation, but can't embody your vision." "You ignore world's cruelty sans might," he voiced. "I do," she countered. "I existed sans might, and initially discovered serenity." He attempted dispute, but she softly pressed his palm. "I'm not forsaking kin, just not morphing into unchosen." Subsequent days blurred conferences, proposals, press conjecture. Sophie Holdings, forming a fresh fund for woodland preservation, initiating a pool for nature learning to deprived young, and gifting vast shares of her wealth to backcountry aid groups. The kinds who might rescue one like her. The panel raged, media perplexed, but Sophia never surer than the media briefing. She faced a tide of lenses, her form on displays, her timber set to touch multitudes, her locks simply bound, her garb humble yet refined. No spin aid, no script. Just her. "Gratitude for attendance," she commenced. "Aware much conjecture on my vanish, return, and Langford global future." She halted, breathing. "Years, I treaded a route laid pre-steps. Elite academies, proper garb, correct grips, long deemed sufficient. But errored, lenses snapped wildly, murmurs waved the space. Weeks passed, lost in Washington backcountry, near death, saved, not by gadgets, not by status, but by a man living plainly grasping life's worth, past gain. He evoked, "We gauge not by possession, or timber fortified. I'm relinquishing any lead role in Langford Global. Won't guide the firm, won't claim unwanted seat. Rather, commit to belief, shielding the wild that rescued mine." Journalists inhaled, some rose, others hurled queries. Sophia raised palm. "I've rerouted major inheritance share into a body pledged to forest safeguard, next-gen education and backcountry aid funding. Won't re-enter conference. My path elsewhere, earth near and near the self I've become." Hush fell. Initially, perhaps, in her life, Sophia ignored expectations, simply voiced truth. Post-briefing, as turmoil persisted aft, she entered a serene corridor, sans lenses. She leaned wall, lids shut. She pondered Ethan. She pondered the ember dance on lodge walls, botanical scent, his timber and hush. She'd chosen, now time homeward. The wilds welcomed like kin, damp lichen odor, gust weaving tall firs, uneven soil crunch under soles. It surged to Sophia like air post-restraint. Laden anticipation, hope, She sent no forward, sought return as initial, unforeseen, genuine. The path known now, terrain still tested. She proceeded wary, using Ethan's noted marks, tilted pine, split boulder, toppled trunk-like span. Each neared to him. The lodge emerged as sun sank behind branches, hurling long shades over glade. Haze twisted lightly from vent, and the plot Ethan nurtured thrived with feral greens and botanicals. Her core hammered. She entered glade. Within lodge, Ethan packed, possessions scant, but actions deliberate. He halted occasionally, surveying space as memorizing, though self-built. The quiet amplified post-Sophia's exit. Each glance to departing trail, he half anticipated her, but nil. Till now, mild rap on timber portal. Ethan stiffened, staring, incredulous. Moment, deemed longing's mirage. But another rap, firmer, surer. He traversed, yanked portal. There she, cheeks rosy, gaze luminous with sentiment. Same plaid K. Gust. Sophia awaited no words, advanced, arms around him, face in his torso. Ethan wavered mildly, but held, arms encircling firm as awaiting this eternally. She breathed into his garb, timber quaking. You preserved my life, but granted living reason. Ethan clasped tighter. He queried not return cause. Unneeded, when she withdrew, palm lingering his torso. She gazed up, thought escape life for peace, but discerned. Needed choice. I chose this, you. He scanned her features, reading each term and look, each verity in hush. Then I neared departure. Her brows furrowed. Why? Thought lost on had. Couldn't linger with shades. She touched his face softly. I'm no shade. No, he voiced thick. Your realest entrant my life. She grinned through brimming tears. Then cease fleeing mutual. He affirmed slowly, then aside, portal wide. Sophia ingress, shedding globe's load at sill, entering ember's warm shine and hush of chosen life. Not visitor, but homecomer. T. They perched mutual in hush. No schemes, no vows, just being. And initially in lives sufficed months elapsed, and wilds shifted seasons. Fall's bite turned foliage to amber gold cascade. Flakes soft post, cloaking branches, muting globe white. Spring revived blooms, erupting thawed soil, and with extraordinary hope renewed, not mere nature, but life Ethan Sophia, forged joint. They avoided prior world, rather beckoned world them. Commenced notion, plain, evident, purpose rooted. A hub for safe, wild navigation learn. Respect nature's might and mend. Find calm, far cement clamor. Ethan knowledge, Sophia means. Joint built neither's theirs. The Havenwood Center, same glade where Ethan's old lodge stood, now broadened, fortified, became refuge for nature reconnect seekers. Offered sessions, herbal remedy, endurance arts, eco-guardianship. Aid crews trained there, using Ethan's ways, Sophia's backing for deep wild crises prep. Visitors varied, trekkers, learner, globe, word spread, not ads or campaigns, but tales, shared by forest visitors left altered. Folk spoke man naming every branch by frond, bearing serene insight in quiet, and woman heart aflame, who abandoned billion realm, not revolt, but quest sacred more. Their bond unflamboyant, not boisterous lavish, seen in joint motion, in Sophia's freer chuckle now, in Ethan's gaze mellow on her, heard in shared trail steps echo, in mirth warmth round ember with aids, in morn hush where speech unneeded to sense grasped. Guests oft queried, true, meet tale? Sophia would grin, near perished. Ethan add wry awful charge, both chuckle, mirth from endured memorable. Joint, taught not mere endure, but exist, wholly, plainly. and Eve's, labor done, sky lavender rose hues. Sophia Ethan trail behind abode, palm in palm, digits woven like surrounding tree bases, distinct yet linked. One Eve reached favored perch, overlook valley, where day last light gilded crowns. Sophia H. Think we'll return to urban? She affirmed. He hushed moment, then perhaps. Someday, if must, but not fleeing, she grinned. No more fleeing. No, he concurred. Precisely belong. They stood hush, sun-sinking mountains, final beams bathing wilds, warm amber shine. Avians hails distant. Mild gusts stirred fronds. Moment, globe halted. Sophia to Ethan, gaze sky mirror. You once voiced lucky nearby. Recall, think lucky beyond. He grasped her palm, soft press. So I, and there. Wild's heart once united via peril chance. Sophia, Ethan, side by side. Two essences wandered, endured, found greater imagined, not mere bond, but abode. Sometimes, most unforeseen paths guide exactly meant. In Wild's hush, amid risk solitude, Sophia, Ethan, found not mere endurance, but aim, calm, love. Our story is a reminder the healing can come from the wildest places, and that when we dare to live truthfully, we often find something far more beautiful than what we were running from. If this story tells, inspired you, or simply gave you a moment of warmth, we invite you to join our community of listeners who believe in the power of heartfelt storytelling. Subscribe to Story World for more true-to-life tales of resilience, love, and redemption, things that heal the soul and stay with you long after they end. Thank you for watching. See you in the next story.